Tonight on JoyNews, prime magistrates and judges lament the debilitating impact of the 2015 judicial corruption expose by Anas Aremianas, insisting its public screening should have been resisted.
The nation is not happy the way judges are treated when we apply for visas to travel. I have the harrowing and sad story of one of our very senior and respected Supreme Court judges sitting with us right now, who was forced to join the public queue outside in the...
We have a lot more from this year's annual general meeting of the Association of Magistrates and Judges, including all their frustrations. African Center for Energy Policy predicts Ghana will not be able to repay a $2 billion barter agreement with China if it relies solely on revenue from the proposed integrated aluminium industry. 3 commercial food millers in Accra shut down after environmental health officers with the Joy Clean Ghana campaign found out they had added contaminants to food meant for public consumption.
Not to repay $2
business.
$600 million tranche, being first tranche of cocoa loan syndication, finally hits Bank of Ghana's accounts with implications for the performance of the local currency against its foreign counterparts.
And residents of Botingle in the Sebulugo district of the Northern Region expressed disappointment with the construction of government's flagship One District, One Dam initiative for their communities yet to begin 1 year after the president cancelled for the project.
Not actually satisfied, because that area is a lowland, and because it is a lowland, whether there has been a project there or not, during the rainy season, the place will already flood.
And that's the message residents of Botingle have for the president in our Dear Nanado series. I am Israel, and JoyNews Prime comes to you live from the JoyNews studio at Kokomlembe here in Accra with digital address GA09925339. Stay tuned in. In our first story, the country's magistrates and judges have described as damaging the judicial corruption expose, which saw several members of the judiciary being indicted for taking bribes. The investigative piece released by Anas Aremianas in 2015 captured some judges on video negotiating and receiving bribes. 3 years after the expose, the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana say the dignity and value has diminished in the eyes of the public, insisting the public screening of the documentary should have been resisted. President of the Association Justice, Senyor Jamafer, however, admits the situation was not handled professionally, with the association shooting itself in the foot. Speaking at this year's annual general meeting, Justice Jamafer also highlighted the appalling conditions under which members have to work and called for the amendment of the law so that gratuities will be paid at age 60 instead of 70.
We are told the delay in getting our retirement benefit now is a bit shortened and much improved. We thank the service and management for establishing a desk at the head office for retirees. However, Mr. Chairman, why should I grow to 70 years before I'm paid my gratuity? Of what use would that money be to me at that age? We have examples of some of our retired colleagues who passed on just after receiving their payments. We are thinking the law be amended so that at 60 years, a percentage of your gratuity be paid to you. At 65, another percentage. So you can use the money to prepare yourself for retirement. This, the association thinks, is more proactive and more beneficial to us instead of the lump sum payment on final retirement at 70 or 65 respectively.
Well, like many other workers, the judges and magistrates also have concerns about their salaries.
Our salaries are not the best. I'm happy a committee on emoluments has been set up and working on it, so I will not talk about that. The association is at a loss as to the meaning of this constitutional provision, Article 127, Clause 5 and 6. the financial independence of the judiciary. The association also wants to suggest to management to present 2 sets of budgets to government. One for the judiciary, that's the bench, and the other for the judicial service. I'll go over that. The association also wants to suggest to management to present 2 sets of budgets to government. One for the judiciary, that's the bench, and the other for the judicial service. We think combining both makes the figures look too huge for the authorities, and its effect is that it is reduced or cut down, and it's affecting us. We do not want to look selfish, but sometimes that's the reality of life. Salaries or remuneration. Mr. Chairman, the leadership.
Among other demands, they want special treatment when applying for visas, insisting they should not join long queues.
The association is not happy the way judges are treated when we apply for visas to travel. I have the harrowing and sad story of one of our very senior and respected Supreme Court judges sitting with us right now, who was forced to join the public queue outside in the rain, waiting for his turn to enter the U.S. Embassy for his visa interview. Sad to say, I personally went through the same ordeal while our protocol staff stood there helplessly. It wasn't their fault. They are not allowed to help us. The association has taken the issue up and written to the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. We are not saying judges should not be interviewed nor processed, but we are against joining the queue for obvious reasons. We must be treated with some dignity. On our appointed days for interview, we should walk straight without having to join the queue. We should walk in straight without having to join the queue. That's what we want. We pray management assist us in sorting this very embarrassing and disrespectful situation out. I do not think our colleagues elsewhere would join queues for visas. Mr. Chairman, I had information from the protocol department that diplomatic status given to our colleague High Court judges has been withdrawn without reason. We want management to do everything that is necessary to have it restored. Secondly, spouses of judges with diplomatic passports be given same status or at worst, service passports. A judge travels with the spouse. He or she is offered the diplomatic courtesies at the airport, while the spouse joins the long queue with the public.
All right, so on the back of this issue that the judges are raising, which has to do with having to queue when they're securing visas, my colleague Emefa Apau has joined me when we're going to be talking about not just that, but about a number of things that the judges, magistrates and judges have raised. But I'd first like us to start with the issue about they queuing for visas. Apparently, there's a response from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay,
so the Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, Habib Tijani, has been speaking to JoyNews about this issue. They say that that has not been brought to their attention because as far as they are concerned, when it's an official trip, there's a protocol officer that is assigned to the particular judge that needs the assistance of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. But the judges at that annual general meeting mentioned that even though they have protocol officers with them at the embassies, they still have to queue because the protocol officers become helpless because it looks like they have to go through the same processes. For them, it is disrespectful and embarrassing. So the Foreign Affairs Ministry says now that it has been brought to their attention, definitely something will be done about the situation. We're here to hear from the judges on their reaction to that. But there was also another issue about the diplomatic status of High Court judges. There was an appeal that they were making to the Foreign Affairs Ministry to ensure that that is done. As it stands now, the Supreme Court judges and the Appeals Court judges have that. They enjoy that status. But the High Court judges, their colleagues at the High Court, you know, that's a superior court as well, but their colleagues at the High Court do not enjoy such services. But the Foreign Affairs Ministry say that is surprising to them because once you apply for it and you need that status, they give it to you. It's not like they'll just give it to you, put it at home, and than doing nothing with it. So once you apply for it and it's needed, they will do it. They also talked about the magistrates courts judges not having a service passport. They are appealing that the magistrates court judges will have at least a service passport as well, so that it will make it easy for them, as well as their spouses of the judges. They say that most of the time when they travel, they only enjoy the services, and their spouses, when they travel with them, will have to queue as well. So they're asking that that will be done. But the Foreign Affairs Ministry said that's something that they will look into. Once you apply for it, they will make it available. Okay, so let's look at some of the issues that they've been talking quite a bit. One of the issues they brought up has to do with the investigative piece by Anas Eremia. Anas, that was back in 2015, which they say it's been quite damaging to their reputation. How else are they saying they should have handled it? So interestingly, that it looks like 2015, one would have thought that they would have moved on with this. But one thing that they said was very profound. They said that they should have resisted the public airing of the thing. They didn't say how. It was just a sweeping comment that he made, but they didn't say how. He says that it looks like the level of judges has been reduced to Donkomi level. Whatever that means, I don't know. But we all know how Donkomi is when it's in the marketplace. But they said that is how damaging, that's the extent of damage that the Anas expose cost them. But they've also admitted on one hand that they acted unprofessionally and that they shot themselves in the foot. That's how come it's happened. But all hope is not lost. They are hoping that they will be able to restore the image and dignity of the judges in the country. Okay, so the other issue they talked about has to do with the courthouses. And they are complaining about the state of the courthouses. I know that the Chief Justice has on some occasion had cause to ask that some courthouses be shut down. To the extent that some cases are heard in a rented apartment, they say in the living room of a rented apartment, they say that's the extent of the deplorable state of some of these courthouses, some of them overgrown with weeds. And like you said, the Chief Justice herself was there today, and she alluded to the fact that something is being done about the situation. They are liaising with the district assemblies to be able to provide them with such courthouses that is in good standing. They say that has been done. One other profound issue, Israel, just before I go, is the issue about the cathedral. All right. We know that the judges and magistrates had to be relocated. It's something that we've been following as JoyNews. Bungalows been having to be pulled down. Taking from them and then pulled down as well. They've actually also extended it to the Alliance Française area. They said they had properties there as well. That also been taken over by the National Cathedral Committee as well. But they say that they were not consulted. It was sad that they had to just be moved without anything being said to them. But they have some good news though. They say that there's the service in collaboration with the Cathedral Project Committee and then also government. It looks like there's a 21 unit 4-bedroom apartment, a flat that is being put up in cantonment for the judges as well. Now being put up. But it said the last time they checked, which was in September, just gone by, it was at the roofing level. So it looks like something is being done. So it was not all doom and gloom. Right. There's something being done for them, they say. All right, thank you very much, MFA Apau, for sharing all that with us. Now moving on, the African Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, is predicting that Ghana will not be able to repay a $2 billion barter agreement with China if it relies solely on revenue from the proposed integrated aluminium industry. This is contained in a paper published by ASEP that analyzes the plan as put out by government. Parliament in July 2017 approved the agreement between Ghana Internal Hydro Corporation Limited for construction of priority infrastructure projects. Ghana will be required to pay for the infrastructure with refined bauxite, but ASEP in its analysis says this is not possible. There's more in the following report by Joseph Akaple.
Discussions on the barter deal has so far centered on whether it will add on to Ghana's debt stock and its impact on the Etiwa forest, which contains large deposits of bauxite. The forum, organized by the Natural Resources Governance Institute and ASEP, seeks to assess whether government will be able to repay the $2 billion. Executive Director of ASEP, Ben Boachi, says the industry on its own cannot repay $2 billion.
Environment, even digging deeper into the fiscals to actually see where we need to pull the plugs on institutions, on the tax system, because else we may end up not even getting what we are projecting to get if the systems remain the way they are. So there is a lot that we can continuously engage on.
Non-governmental organization Arocha Ghana is concerned about the environmental impact.
I mean, it's a legitimate right of the country It's a mineral resource, and once there's opportunity, and we show due diligence, we have every right as a country to tap it. The question is, and that is what Ben also raised, are we really ensuring due diligence and respect of really going for this bauxite loan? That is something that all of us should reflect on. And I'm happy your presentation shed some light on some of the key issues, the profit margins, the royalties, the financial detail. I mean, this is something so far we've not had the government angle in terms of putting this information out there for people to adequately engage. It looks like we said, okay, there's bauxite, there's money, we're just working on that. But
economist Professor Godfrey Bokpin wants Ghana to be cautious in dealing with the Chinese government.
So I believe the reason is because civil society, the likes of Ben and the others, actually raised the bar at the early stage. So we are able to open that box and then look at them critically. I think from the analysis, it's quite sound. I believe that I don't have the slides to actually do my own independent calculation, but from what he has followed, resonates well with me to some extent in terms of our ability, first of all, to draw down that facility.
ASEP says it has so far been unsuccessful at getting government officials to engage on its findings.
Now, did you know that the condo you use for your banku is possibly mixed with lime? Well, today the environmental health officers uncovered some contaminants that our traders and food vendors add to food to either preserve or add color to it. Worst of it was that all the traders and millers the team found today either had their health card expired or non-existent at all. Nancy Mefajodozi was with the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, and it's a wrap of all the activities on day 5.
And public health, food safety. And today we are going into the market to inspect all the food products that is being processed from the market here for sale. We'll be entering the corn mills, we'll inspect the flour, whatever product they do, a pepper flour, tomato flour, and they have some composition that they do, mix it up to grind and then sell. We want to see how safe it is for public consumption.
Inspector Joseph Asitanga there, telling what the team will be looking out for. But what they found was shocking. First stop, the pepper mill. Even before the team will uncover filth, he confessed to not having a health card.
So have you undergone AMA medical screening to obtain your health certificate?
Yeah, once one of the AMA man came here to come and inform us to go and do it.
Inform you to go and do it?
Yes.
And have you done it?
No, we have not done it, but I'll give my particulars, everything to her.
No. What have you given out?
He said he's going to do it for us.
No. The AMA health certificate, we don't do it for somebody. You come there for us to take samples of yourself. And based on the samples, we send it to lab for analysis. And that will qualify you to be issued with the card. So if somebody say he's collecting your particulars to go and do the health certificate for you, it means there is some compromise on what you are going to do. You yourself, you are compromising what you are supposed to do.
When we entered, cockroach-infested mill with wires hanging loosely got the inspector disturbed.
Can you see cockroaches all over? So you blend this thing with cockroaches all over. So if we're going to put off this place, put it off in use. Yeah, that is what we're going to do. Because no, that's it. Today we are going for all of you, because if you don't meet the standards that you are supposed to operate here, we will not allow you to operate. So we are saying part of to close the place. Okay? So you close the place, then you do all the provisions that we will be directing you to do. After you are done, then we come and inspect. If we accept the standard, we allow you to operate.
Just when he ordered the team to shut down the business, Joseph Asitanga discovered a polythene bag that contained what appeared to be red seeds.
If you want
want to grind, pepper, you add this pepper and grind.
Everybody in this world, everywhere.
Everywhere they use
it. I just want to understand how. So what pepper? How safe is it? Who has authorized this thing as a safe product for you to mix it to produce? Oh, we are selling the market.
Simultaneously, the team impounded a sack full of these mysterious seeds from this woman who also didn't have a health card.
Mostly, market women add it to pepper and tomatoes. Sometimes we see them milled fresh tomatoes and they are selling. And the color is so red. This is what mostly they add to it, and even the pepper.
We moved from pepper to the corn mill, only to find the corn mixed with lime. The operators were divided over the purpose of the lime.
They've added these things into the corn to also grind. I don't know why it's been added. What is the purpose of adding this into the corn?
To do, you
Please, we are interested. Educate us.
Is it the woman who has been doing that or you?
The corn which you pour on the water, the scent comes to the inside. That's why we use this one so that the corn will never be sent.
So when you add this into the corn, it doesn't smell like it.
It doesn't smell.
If don't do this, it smells bad, right?
Yeah.
But since you said if the corn is spoiled, that is why you add this.
If the corn is dirty.
It's dirty.
Yeah.
So this will clean the dirt.
Even worse, the entire place was covered in dust and decorated with very dirty clothes.
Look at this. This is food house. You produce food here. Look at how you hang your clothes. Is it nice? Answer us. Is it good?
No.
Why is it not good? Why is it not good? Because of contamination, we've been telling you, don't be hanging clothes here. This is not your bedroom. Is this a bedroom? Then why do you hang your clothes? It's a what?
It's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
The officers ordered a shutdown.
Now we will stop you from operating right now and clean the place before we will allow you to operate.
The fufu pounding mill was the next point. The operator's health card had expired and the fufu was also left uncovered. The room was also covered in dust and cobwebs. What the team didn't know, however, was these mills had channeled their liquid waste to this drain. The drain has become a cocktail of feces, pepper, fufu in a floating pot of plastics. But they accused some young men in the market defecating in the drain. Mr. Asitanga gave all the traders 3 days to clear the mess before reopening their businesses.
In the interim, we brought the executives here. We have given them 3 days to clear all the waste at this place.
Florence Kuchi is the public health director of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly.
We are really eating things in Accra, so I'm advising that people should start preparing food in their homes.
The team had seen enough for the day, but we will be back.
A mother has narrated a heart-wrenching story of how her 2 children were sexually abused in one of Accra's top international schools. According to her, both her son and daughter have become reclusive and are scared to be in the presence of other adults apart from their parents. Sharing her story on the Super Morning Show Wednesday, she said for the past 4 years, the children have not been to school. In her words, after 3 years, I realized the school has teamed up with some people and they take my daughter from school the whole day. She was being taught how they do LGBT activities. The girl got so used to it to the extent that she couldn't even control herself. Let's watch this interview.
At that time, she was 6 years.
When all of this started?
Yes.
6 years old?
6 years.
And when she went to the school, her teacher said that the second
When she went to that's the same school, she went to the second year.
Okay.
And her teacher was complaining that she wasn't focusing in class. After I moved her, I took her to another school. The teacher said she wasn't steady. They come and take her in class. The slightest thing, she's going to the washroom. And I realized she couldn't cope on her own in that school. So I got a teacher to teach them at home. And I was observing her, and I was doing. And so after she became a little lighter, we've been on and off, things that went on. She's been saying of things. Sometimes she's been injected to sleep, sometimes this and that. I asked, he said, the principal has been putting some ball in both the vagina and the anus when they are coming home. And then the next morning, they'll take it out.
She keeps it in her.
Yes. I don't know if that one stimulates them to be sexually active. She told me it's actually the children did it though, but it wasn't the children who started it. It was the principal of the school.
The principal of the school?
When she started the first year, some seniors hijacked her in the washroom and sexually abused her. About 6 or 8 of them, I've forgotten the number there. We reported to the school. We wrote a letter to the school, and then I spoke to the PTA chairman too, and he advised me to go to Doksu. I went to Doksu, and at first I went to see my doctor, but Doksu wouldn't take a doctor's report from private hospital.
Okay.
So we went to Lekman. So the doctor examined her, and then the doctor said with kids like this, usually they have some part in the brain that they lock sexual abuse because of the threats that is being given them.
Okay.
So the actual facts usually will come after some time. When they tell you one thing, they will monitor your mood and how you go about it before they release something else.
Okay.
So he gave the report and we sent it back to Doksu. But we're reassured that when we go to Doksu, she'll be handled as an individual and everything else. We went to Doksu, they took their statement, of which I wasn't so pleased because it was in the reception and about 3 people sitting there, and then 1 person was interviewing her. Okay, they interviewed her and they wrote her statements. We arranged to see the head in the Doksu. They invited the school. They came with their lawyer and I went with my husband without the kids. My husband got a bit flared up and said he will make sure he takes this case as far as he can. But then he was told that he's been too harsh and that there's been issues whereby the abuse is from the father. That's what the woman said. And the school authorities too say, yeah, it's true. What shows is us. The way things went, we went home and we wrote a letter back to Doksu that we've withdrawn the case.
Well, we're following up on the story and we'll bring you any further updates that we have. The unbearable congestion on the Bujumburam section of the main Kaswa Cape Coast Highway will be a thing of the past. That's his assurance from the Central Regional Director of the Ghana Highways Authority after inspection of emergency works on the 1.5-kilometer stretch, which has become notorious for bumper-to-bumper traffic. We'll be hearing from the Regional Highways Director, but first here is the Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, sharing his experience and the subsequent order for a quick intervention.
And on Saturday, it's true, I passed through here. I spent about 2 hours on. I've been locked up here. You know, I come from Kromanti, just not too far from here, so I pass here a lot. And I've been talking to them, but I've also always been giving some excuses. But last Saturday it got to me and I called him. He was I thought he was not telling me the truth. He says, I'll move on very quickly tomorrow. I said, I will take you on. And he said, yes. And indeed, Sunday, he moved his men here. He's got equipment. The contractor was also called. He also enthusiastically joined. And today, we've removed one of the bottlenecks here. Right now, you can see traffic flowing very easily. And the drivers have been advised not to be parking on the road. We provide them space for them to park or drop off and move on. Hopefully within a couple of weeks or next week or next 2 weeks to be asphalted, and then on the main road really, and then the work will start. The drains will be cleared, and so the water will flow.
Now here's the Director of the Central Regional Highways Authority, Samuel Kwesi Akoko, giving assurance that the ongoing construction will stop the usual traffic on the stretch.
On Mondays and on Fridays, because people are moving to Accra and people are coming for weekends. But ordinary days, we have traffic. Because a lot of people live beyond Bujumburam. There are some who are resident in Winneba and they work in Accra. So it's every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. But what we want to do is that we want to make sure that the waiting time will not be too high. maybe a minute or 2 or 3 is okay in traffic so that people can move. It causes a lot of relief. You know, when there's traffic jam and people are agitated, there's so much stress. And when there's stress, there's confusion. Buduburam is one of our business centers. It's a town that has become congested because of the construction of Kaswa interchange. You know, we have a dualization all the way connecting into a single lane. So Buduburam becomes like a bottleneck. So what we're trying to do here is to decongest Buduburam town.
Yes, the contractor and managing director of Asabia Engineering, Samuel Forila, will be providing details of the project.
On this project, Ghana Highway Authority have a very strong program of dualization of Accra Cape Coast. And the dualization of the Accra Cape Coast, this project forms part of it. And we cannot just wake up, just started constructing the road while people are suffering here. That is why the Ghana Highway Authority has taken immediate steps for us to do the decongestion.
I'm Israel. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night. PM Express is up next. Stay tuned in.